I too lent my voice to support this resolution. It's been a privilege to work with my friend and colleague, Mr. Ortiz, over the past several years to bring this resolution to the floor. And Mr. Ortiz mentioned this, from 1992 to 2012, our former colleague, Jim Conte, used to introduce and lead this resolution in the floor. As Mr. Ortiz mentioned, Jim was a two-time kidney transplant recipient, a great human being, and a staunch and tireless advocate when it came to the issue of promoting organ donation in our state. He sat right here in front of me where Mr. Goodell is sitting. Unfortunately, we lost Mr. Conte in October 2012, and although his passing left a hole in the heart of this chamber, his memory still lives in this chamber, and especially when we talk about this very important issue. It's incumbent upon each and every one of us to carry on that mission and message because it literally saves lives and improves the quality of life of so many individuals. When Jim Conte used to speak about this issue, he used to speak about it with emotion, with passion, and with facts. Let's just talk about some of the facts, the startling facts, the statistics that we have here in New York when we talk about organ donation. Right now in New York, we have nearly 9,500 New Yorkers waiting for an organ transplant. 1,700 have been waiting for more than 5 years. There are 52 registries across this state. New York is rated number 51 out of 52. We are only ahead of Puerto Rico. We have the third highest need for organ transplants, but the second worst registry in the country. The national average for organ donation is 54%. The state of Montana is number one at 92%. The state of New York is 51 at 30%. Last year, we had nearly 450 men, women, and children died waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. The good news, though, is one person who donates at the time of their death can save up to 8 lives and impact the lives of 75 others. I want to repeat that statistic again. One person who donates at the time of their death can save up to 8 lives and impact up to 75 others. There's so many personal stories about this around the chamber, past and present members. I just want to talk about a couple past members who are here. Assemblyman Bill Hoyt died on the assembly floor waiting for a heart transplant, and no one knew until that day. Our former Assemblyman Richard Brodsky, his daughter Willie, received a kidney from his wife. You heard Mr. Ortiz talk about his personal experiences. So many have talked about their personal experiences. Andy Goodell, his daughter, donated to a high school classmate. Michael Fitzpatrick's chief of staff donated to a complete stranger. For me, the story comes close to me because of my sister Teresa, who was a 2-time organ transplant recipient. She was a juvenile diabetic, a disease that ravaged her body over her years. The first time she received a transplant was in 2000 from the kindness of a stranger. In 2006, I had the privilege to donate a kidney to my sister Teresa. Unfortunately, in 2013, my sister passed away, not from the complications to the kidney, but from the complications to the diabetes. But what it showed me, Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, is the impact that organ donation can have on a family. It saves lives and it can impact the quality of a life. I realized, though, she was a lucky one. She had 2 transplants. I didn't know how bad the numbers were in New York until I came up here. We can make a difference with this issue. I know some people don't even want to think about this issue because you're really thinking about your own death, and I understand that. But think about it from this perspective. What if your husband or wife, mother or father, or God forbid, your son or daughter were in need of a life-saving organ transplant? Then you just heard those statistics that we talked about. 51 out of 52, 30% registration rate. We can and we must do better. But we have made progress, my friends, my colleagues. 2 years ago when we talked about this issue, it wasn't 30%, it was 23%. 2 years when we talked about this issue, it wasn't almost 9,500 people, it was over 10,000. It's because of actions we're taking in this chamber. It's because of things we're doing back home to promote awareness, whether it's passage of Lawrence Law. A couple years ago, we passed a registry to allow 16 and 17-year-olds to register. And probably one of the most transformational things we've done last year, the online registry became active, where now people with a few clicks of a button can go on and sign up to give the gift of life. But there's more we need to do. You received a packet in your offices through email about social media packets, things you can do to promote organ donation. You can send out emails. You can use your mailings to get information out there. Post a link on your website. We passed a lot of laws in this chamber, but not all of them deal with saving lives. This can save lives, but it takes a commitment on our end and a dedication on our end. Individually, no one can do as much as Jim Conte did in this chamber, but collectively, we can do so much more. So let's continue to bring awareness and education on this very, very important issue because it saves lives, and it's the right thing to do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.